All right, we're up to 75 participants, and it's 10:05. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, STIC members and friends. Thank you very much for joining us today for our first meeting of 2021. And I hope everybody is continuing to stay safe and healthy and enjoying these first days of spring. I just wanted to go over some logistics before we get into our program today. First, I'd like to note that the breakout portion of our meeting later on will be recorded to help us better prepare a report for you all at the conclusion. And hopefully you were able to explore the Zoom interface while waiting to get started. The toolbar allows you to customize your meeting experience. In the upper right corner, you can toggle between full screen as well as gallery view versus speaker view. We encourage the use of your camera so that we can connect a little bit better in this virtual setting. Unless you're speaking, kindly mute yourself to eliminate unnecessary background noise. We do, however, want this meeting to be interactive. So if you do have a question, please use the chat window as we have someone monitoring it. And if you're directing a question to a specific person, please indicate who you're speaking to. And the chat log will be saved. So if the STIC team can't get to your question today, we can address questions at a later time. And lastly, feel free to use the reactions tool for things like thumbs up and thumbs down. Next, just a brief run through of our agenda. If you were with us back in mid-December for our special EDC-6 New Jersey caucus, the format for today's meeting will look a little bit familiar to you. We'll be taking care of some of our routine STIC business, such as FHWA updates, CIA team updates, and a feature presentation, which will be on a couple of our STIC incentive grant projects. Next, we'll have a short break and a poll question. And then after the poll question, we'll break out into groups according to topic. We'll explain a little bit more about the logistics of how that will work when we get to that point in our meeting today. Then after that, we'll meet all back together in the common room to have a plenary discussion that Helene will facilitate, and that will be about our experiences in the breakout rooms. And finally, we'll end with some reminders and announcements. So with that, let's go ahead and kick this off. And I would like to please welcome NJDOT Assistant Commissioner Mike Russo.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I hope everyone, as Amanda said, is healthy and safe. Welcome to our first STIC of 2021. With any luck, we will start doing these meetings sometime soon as actual meetings and not virtual meetings, but here we are doing one more virtual meeting. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to join us today. Your participation today is particularly meaningful due to the interactive nature of today's agenda. Later this morning, we will be having breakout sessions to discuss the EDC-6 initiatives in a little bit more detail. And I hope you find those sessions to be of value. I know we will certainly benefit from your participation in those sessions. Typically at this time, we normally have all the participants introduce themselves, but we have a fairly large group today. And in the interest of time and at the risk of missing someone, what I would like to do is just acknowledge some of the organizations and their representatives that were registered to join us as of late last night. First, I'd like to thank our senior leadership here, Joe Bertoni and Vanessa Holman from the Commissioner's Office. We also have, I believe, Bob Marshall representing Assistant Commissioner Schnell Patel and Sal Cowan representing Assistant Commissioner Andrew Tenard. FHWA, as always, Robert Clark, thank you for your support. And Helene Roberts, thank you. We can't do these meetings without you, I'm sure. LTAP, I just want to thank Janet Leely and David Amon for helping pull this all together. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Amanda directly and her staff for also putting this together. We have county and municipal representatives at today's meeting. I believe Vince Cardone is out there from Monmouth County. I saw Deanna Stockton from Princeton signed in. And we typically have industry representatives at these meetings. And I'm trying to watch the list here to see who's on and who's not on.
Kevin Monaco is getting in right now.
So typically we have Bill McGarrigle and Mike Wright from ACEC New Jersey. Kevin Monaco from the New Jersey Asphalt Pavement Association should be joining us. Jill Schiff from the ACC New Jersey, and George Loebman from the UTCA normally joins us as well. From the MPOs, I would like to thank David Bayron, Deputy Executive Director from NJTPA, and I saw Jennifer Marandino from SJTPO signing on. As I said, I'm going to miss someone. I'd like to thank everyone. And with that, I believe I'll pass the torch to Helene, correct?
Okay, I'm just going to recognize a few more people that came in. I saw Mary Amin is on. She's our old trusty STIC member, so we don't want to forget Mary. Yeah, you're here. I see you.
Morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Mary.
So Mary's been a constant presence with us for many, many years. So hi, Mary. As you guys hopefully are aware by now, we're in March and we're almost at the end of it. So we started Everyday Counts Round 6 in January. With the Everyday Counts Round 6 comes a baseline report. And I just wanted to let you all know that your feedback from the virtual caucus that we held in December helped us greatly to prepare those baseline reports. So I just want to thank everyone for their participation, their input. We really used it. And actually, we used a lot of what we've learned in some of the more recent STIC meetings to help guide this meeting. So we are listening to you. We thank you for your input and responses to all of our polls. You really helped us with the baseline reporting. It made it much easier for me and my NJDOT counterparts to prepare that report. We had a lot of information to go off of, so thank you. And thank you to Rutgers for, compiling the results of that caucus meeting and sharing it with all of us. That's greatly appreciated. So what I have here prepared for you, sorry, I only had a couple minutes to do this, and I feel like I've shortchanged everyone. But what I prepared here is sort of a quick look at where we are now with the Everyday Counts Round 6 initiatives and where we plan to be in 2 years. So you could see 0 is not implemented. So you could see a digital as-built. There's nothing on the baseline because we're not implemented. But all of the other ones are already at some stage of implementation. The first stage, and maybe you'll all remember this, maybe not, I'll just give you a refresher. The first stage is development. That kind of means we're looking into the initiative. So we're gathering some information, we're having some maybe workshops or peer exchanges or talking to our counterparts in other agencies or other components of our own organization, and we're gathering some information. So a couple of these are in development right now. Next Gen TIM, e-ticketing, crowdsourcing. And then the second stage is demonstration. That means we're actually trying the initiative. So we are trying it on some projects, trying it on some, some of these things like VPI, we're trying it in some public forums, that kind of thing. So we're trying it. The next stage is assessment. We've tried it, and now we're seeing how it's working out for us and tweaking it as we need to. So we're making some changes. We're working on developing some sort of standards for the initiative. If we're interested in institutionalizing it, some initiatives we won't be interested in institutionalizing, and maybe we don't need standards and specifications for them, and that's okay. You could see some of our initiatives are already at this stage of deployment at the baseline level. So we have UHPC, ultra high performance concrete, strategic workforce. We already have them at the assessment level, nearly to institutionalized. And then up here at level 4, we have institutionalized. We have standards for these things. We have specifications for these things. We have design guidance. We have verbiage in our design manuals. We have procedures in place. That's what institutionalized means. And you can see that right now, TOPS is institutionalized, at least for, that's what I'm drawing a blank here. So suddenly I'm even the leader for that one. It's the pavement preservation one. So we are institutionalized because we're a lead state for asphalt, and concrete we're lagging, but we're really an asphalt sort of preservation state. And you can see that in 2 years with like VPI, ultra high performance concrete, TOPS, obviously, strategic workforce development and crowdsourcing, we plan to be at institutionalized. You can see there's a gap here for crowdsourcing. We have a long way to go, and you'll hear about some of the things we're doing in crowdsourcing right now to get there. So that is it for me, I think.
Okay, thank you, Helene. Next, we'll be hearing from our core innovation area leads. One thing you'll notice here is that there are now 4 CIA teams. We created a new 4th team to spearhead innovations that did not fit within the construct of the other 3, such as this round of virtual public involvement and the new strategic workforce development. The organizational improvement and support CIA team will be led by Zenobia Fields of NJDOT and Brian Goodson of FHWA. Since this team is so new and just getting started, we're just introducing them to you today. They'll provide a report out in our 2nd quarterly meeting later, likely around June. And finally, you'll also notice that we've been joined by a new leader, Sue Catlett, who will be joining Ake Pomsavath on the Mobility and Ops CIA team. And Sue will be taking over for Wayne Patterson. So first up, please welcome Dan Lasanti and Keith Skilton for their CIA update.
Thanks, Amanda. This is Keith Skilton. Good morning, everyone. We just want to talk about EDC-5. So with the completion of the New Jersey 2020 Strategic Highway Safety Plan, that resulted in a data-driven process that defines where we'll focus our attention and the resources that we'll use to improve traffic safety. The crash data shows that there about 50% of the fatalities and serious injury crashes were a result of roadway departure crashes. And obviously, we'll continue to provide infrastructure projects, including systemic programs and projects and education with our Towards Zero Deaths vision beyond just this EDC-5 initiative. As it relates to EDC-5, our focus has been on education to bring awareness and offer proven mitigation alternatives to local public agencies. We partnered with the New Jersey Technical Assistance Program at Rutgers, the New Jersey DOT's Division of Local Aid, and all 3 of our MPOs to create and deliver half-day workshops for proven safety countermeasures while using a FHWA Accelerating Safety Activities Program grant to provide resources to the participants. The training included strategies and countermeasures for roadway departure crashes, including departure crash mitigation, but it also focused on pedestrian intersection safety. It also provided information to the participants on funding eligibility and how to apply for the funding. So of the 3 workshops that we planned, we completed 2 for the NJTPA and SJTPO regions, and we felt the training would not be as impactful virtually. So we're kind of holding off for the DVRPC event, and we have all the information we need for the participants already printed out. We're just waiting to be able to go to do it in person. So far we had 66 different agency representatives attend the 2 trainings that we had, and we anticipate about 50 participants in the DVRPC subregions. Next, I'll turn it over to Dan to talk about the roadway departure training.
Okay, hello everyone. Rural roads, once considered high risk, are defined in the New Jersey 2020 Strategic Highway Safety Plan as public roads with a functional classification as a rural major or minor collector or a rural local road with significant safety risk. The box roadway types on the slide illustrates the fatalities and serious injury crashes documented that includes rural roadways. Again, with an education focus, we attended an FHWA train-to-trainer workshop to prepare ourselves to train local public agencies. With COVID, in-person training was put on hold, and we didn't want to continue to push off the training. So we decided to actually secure the FHWA Safety Resource Center instructors to conduct the virtual training. As Keith mentioned before, to date, we have, well, actually, he mentioned a whole different initiative, but with this initiative, to date, we have completed 2 sessions, and the last session is tomorrow. Highlighting again is our successful partnerships and commitment to safety. We involved the New Jersey Local Technical Assistant Program, the New Jersey DOT SHSP consultant team, the NJDOT Division of Local Aid, and our MPOs to create a New Jersey specific event with a focused, targeted audience of rural roadway agency owners. This training will provide a better understanding of how to use data to identify problem locations and talk about treatments and strategies that local agencies can implement to successfully address roadway departures, including the systemic application of countermeasures such as rumble strips, friction treatments, and clear zones. Tomorrow, we will emphasize how a data-driven systemic analysis can help agencies prioritize the locations and countermeasures that will be most effective by taking a broad view to evaluate risk across an entire roadway system. This systemic approach can be used to proactively implement countermeasures where crashes are likely to happen, even for locations where no crashes have been recorded to date. The benefits include safer roadways, quick deployment, and flexibility. Our safety goal is to keep vehicles in their travel lanes, reduce the potential for crashes, and reduce the severity of those crashes that do occur. I'm going to hand this back to Keith for the next slide. Thank you.
So next slide. Thanks, Dan.
Yes. Yep, no
So
problem.
under EDC 4 and 5, we developed an action plan to be applied in the development of the 2020 Strategic Highway Safety Plan. So the EDC initiatives, they may have ended, but that doesn't mean that the institutionalized status of this ends our work. We're continuing our pedestrian and bicycle safety efforts and now considering an equity component with the achievable goal of eliminating these crashes over time. We are motivated and excited to include innovative approaches to strengthen complete street implementation, improve design practices, provide comprehensive safety education, increase awareness of infrastructure grant opportunities, improve data enforcement, and incorporate best practices, just to name a few. We'd like to end this progress reporting with our commitment to consider equity issues related to pedestrian and bicycle crashes. We're going to hear a lot in the future on implementing a safe system approach to improve safety. The Highway Safety Improvement Program, which sets the funding and policy tone for New Jersey's safety implementation efforts, is a key place to start. The fundamental objectives of the safe system approach aims to eliminate fatalities and serious injuries for all road users by accommodating human mistakes and keeping impacts on the human body at a tolerable level. What distinguishes the safe system approach from the traditional safety approach is that no death or level of injury is acceptable on the transportation network. New Jersey's driving towards zero deaths vision is the first step in the safe system approach. We are also a step in the right direction towards a safe system approach by institutionalizing equity in our road safety work, ensuring safe and fair transportation options, ensuring all road users have a safe route and access to the basic community services regardless of age, income, or race. New Jersey has already been nationally recognized for including fairness within both the planning process and its outcomes. Our work is just beginning, and opportunities we see in the future include incorporating equity considerations in implementation and assessment plans, such as goals related to safety improvements for populations that were traditionally underserved, encourage local agencies to engage traditionally underserved populations for HDIP infrastructure projects, and develop equity metrics for project prioritization, and also to expand our focus and quality of the data that we collect and how we analyze it. So I think we'll have some questions. If anyone has some questions, you can also use the chat. So next, I'll turn it back over to Amanda.
Thank you, Keith.
Yep.
Dan.
Hey,
Okay.
Mike, this is John Ward. I just want to say DVRPC's in the house.
Hi, John.
I saw you, John. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Good
you.
morning.
Okay, so up next, please welcome Bob Signora and or John Miller for the infrastructure preservation update.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Hi, Bob.
Good morning. So if you could go to the next slide, please. There we go. All right, so we've got a couple of EDC-6 initiatives I wanted to speak about. The first one is digital as-builts. The purpose of this initiative is to explore the use of 3D models to build projects and update digital information to reflect the project's as-built condition. Using digital data such as 3D models to build road projects is becoming an industry standard. Sharing the design model and associated digital project data allows agencies and contractors to streamline project delivery and contract administration and to collaborate on challenges virtually before they get in the field. The digital information is further leveraged when the model is updated and other data incorporated to reflect the project's as-built condition for future maintenance, asset management, and rehabilitation activities. The benefits for this initiative is that construction using digital information can lead to safer projects. Digital information is streamlined, throughout project delivery, and digital as-builts can provide enhanced historical data. Right now, a team has been assembled. The team is comprised of NJDOT, FHWA, and industry members. They've completed their baseline report, and they're working on preparing a list of required resources and preparing a cost estimate to proceed further. The next initiative is e-ticketing. The purpose of this initiative is to provide stakeholders with an electronic means to produce, transmit, and track and verify material deliveries. E-ticketing improves material tracking, exchanging, and archiving of those material informational tickets. The benefits is the data collection and reduces exposure to construction equipment when on site. So it's a safety issue. It's also a time-saving benefit because you have real-time access to those information material numbers and what's been delivered and the costs. It's also a benefit with project documentation because it's more consistent and efficient. Right now, the team is in the development stage and they're assessing vendors to possibly use for this effort. Next, Amanda. Thank you. Next, we have, one second here. Next, we have the Targeted Overlay Pavement Solutions, TOPS. The purpose of this initiative is to develop and install overlays that provide long life performance under a wide range of traffic, environmental, and existing pavement conditions. As many of you know, approximately half of all infrastructure dollars are invested in pavements, and more than half of that investment in overlays. By enhancing overlay performance, state and local highway agencies can maximize this investment and help ensure safer, longer lasting roadways. Many of those pavements in the nation's highway systems have reached or are approaching the end of their design life. In addition, these roadways still carry daily traffic that often far exceeds their initial design criteria. Overlays are now available for both asphalt and concrete pavements and enable agencies to provide long life performance under a wide range of traffic and environmental conditions. This particular initiative has many benefits. It improves the surface characteristics, excuse me, such as smoothness, friction, and noise. When it's done, it's timely and well-designed overlays are consistently cost-effective, and targeted solutions to traffic areas result in reduced maintenance needs, as well as fewer work zones and improved safety. As you may know, NJDOT is a lead agency using the HIPTO, the High Performance Thin Overlay, as well as the BRIC, the Binder Rich Intermediate Course, and the SMA, which is the Stone Matrix Asphalt. As Helene hinted to during the the dashboard of where we are with EDC-6, excuse me, TOPS is institutionalized for asphalt, and we're working our way forward for concrete. The okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's all right. I just wanted to share that other asphalt grading mixtures, such as the ARGG and the OGFC and the UTBWC, as you can read here, all of those courses have been implemented into our standard specifications. So aside from the types of asphalt designs that we're leading the nation in, there's a host of other designs that are in our standard arsenal, in our toolbox, that we're currently using. Next slide, Amanda. I typically don't talk this much during this thing, but at the beginning, I think it's, I hope you find it useful to, get a flavor of why we're doing these things and the benefits of them. Our last initiative is ultra high performance concrete. And this application is now being in EDC-6 being used for bridge preservation and repair. We've used UHPC in other applications at the department, but this is a new one for us here. Ultra high performance concrete is a versatile and a strong product. It's fiber reinforced composite material, and with mechanical and durability properties that far exceed those of conventional concrete materials. UPC repairs can outlive and outperform their conventional counterparts, resulting in the life cycle cost savings. Right now, the team has 2 pilot projects using UHPC that were completed in 2020. Information is being gathered on the performance and the usability of those projects, and to assess the data and see how it did. They're also going to perform a life cycle cost analysis, and they're going to update the bridge design manual to include UHPC for PNR, which is the preservation and repair. Does anybody have any questions? I know that was a lot of material. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Next, please welcome Ik Pomsavath and Sal Cowan, who will be providing the updates for the Mobility and Operations CIA team today.
Amanda, can you go to the next slide?
Yep.
Good morning. I will provide an update for crowdsource. The concept premise is to utilize the transportation user, like real-time sensor, vehicle probe, to collect roadway condition and travel patterns to better manage the transportation system. NGDOT will collaborate with Waycare, will be a pilot project. Waycare is a crowdsource information service provider that collects data from connected vehicle, incidents, mobile apps, weather. They provide a cloud-based computing platform and data analytics tool to support the operation of the NGDOT TIM program and Traffic Operations Center. Currently at the development stage, NGDOT was awarded the STIC incentive grant to fund the pilot project. A working group comprising the NGDOT Mobility operations, ITS research, and planning staff will provide the strategic direction for the project. A one-year schedule has been developed for the planning, design, integration testing, and implementation for the use of crowdsource. This concludes my update. With that, I will turn it over to Sal to provide an update for next generation traffic incident management. Sal?
Morning, Ake. Hope everybody can hear me. Hope everyone's doing well. For the next generation of TIM traffic incident management, where we're integrating technology, data, and training, many of you are aware the department and its partners are very strong and far ahead as far as the training piece is concerned. But one of the things that we continue to work on is the ability to integrate multiple data sets. Our strongest partner, of course, is the New Jersey State Police. They patrol the roads, we fix and operate the roads. Over the course of the last couple of years, as part of our TIM strategic plan, we've had an initiative to be able to incorporate the state police's computer-aided dispatch system into our TMC software platform. We had a couple of hiccups, one of which was a complete transformation from one data set, which was the OpenReach platform provided to us through our Transcom partners, to the T-Rex data set. So we had one data entry platform, and last year we introduced another data entry platform. Recognizing that was coming, we put our Cad Integration platform pretty much on hold. It didn't make sense to integrate one data set when we were changing systems. The idea here is to be able to be fully aware of any crashes that the state police would respond to, that we could make a difference, that we could support motorist awareness, either using our dynamic message signs, our 511 system, or to support quick clearance by providing our safety service patrol for a quick response if they're on our interstates, as well as dispatching our incident management and regional incident management coordinator state police team. So when the state police said, okay, we understand you're putting your project on hold, we're looking at a vendor that they're putting in place for a new CAD system. So both systems weren't really going to be able to talk to each other, was Motorola. We're in the development stage. We do have a team that has been working on this. It included Transcom because the data set was there. And what we want to do is try and determine exactly what kinds of data is going to go back and forth. My team doesn't care that it's, the owner, who the person is. We care what lanes are blocked. We care which direction it's going in. We care if there are any injuries that may take the incident from a minor category of an incident to an intermediate or a major type of crash. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to investigate the various data that needs to be combined. We're also trying to see if this is a two-way data set, whether it's just us getting information or how the state police would prefer to receive some of our information as well. Well, that's an update for the next generation, Tim.
Thank you. And as I said, during our next quarterly meeting, you'll hear from our organizational improvement and support leads on what they've been up to. Not to worry, though, I'm positive that the breakout sessions later on today for VPI and strategic workforce development will be very productive. Okay, so up next, let's talk about STIC incentive grant projects. To date, we've been awarded 10 STIC incentive grants for innovations that improve safety, led to faster construction, reduce congestion, or improve the quality and user satisfaction of our state's transportation system. Our goal is to take advantage of all $100,000 available each year. And as you can see, we've been doing pretty well over the last few years. We just received an application that, if awarded, will use the remaining funds left for this fiscal year. Next, I'll be talking about the New Jersey STIC Communications Plan, which was awarded last year, and then Sal will tell you about our newest award for an exciting new enhanced crowdsourcing for operations pilot. The New Jersey STIC Communications Plan is intended as a guide to encourage the exchange of ideas and promote innovation among STIC members and the broader New Jersey transportation community. The plan is in line with the mission of the New Jersey STIC and briefly describes the STIC organizational framework and the intended audience, which includes STIC members and external transportation community stakeholders. The Identifying Innovative Practices section describes the sources of information about innovative practices in use at DOT and among the agency's transportation partners. These sources include STIC meeting presentations such as local public agency presentations and workshops or breakout sessions, LPA surveys, key informant interviews, progress reports, innovative ideas database, NJDOT tech transfer quarterly meetings, and maintenance of a hot topic list. The plan then discusses accelerating innovations through use of the communications toolbox. The toolbox describes strategies used to promote and provide information about innovations, and these include STIC meeting presentations, the STIC webpage, fact sheets and infographics, the Tech Talk series, webinars, workshops, peer exchanges, videos, social media, the STIC newsletter, and links to calendars and trainings such as FHWA training on EDC initiatives. The plan includes a table of New Jersey STIC communications tools applicable for use with each EDC initiative. These are arranged by topic, EDC initiative, implementation status, possible strategies, and proposed next steps. The the STIC communications plan will guide efforts to promote innovation of not only EDC-6 initiatives, but initiatives of prior and future rounds of EDC. So the final product, the communication plan, is in its final stages of development, so you will likely see the completed project being put out there relatively shortly. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so up next, we've got Sal back, and he's going to talk about enhanced crowdsourcing for operations in New Jersey.
Help if I click the right button to unmute myself. So thanks, Amanda. What we're going to talk today about is the STIC incentive grant pilot that we are putting forth to support enhanced crowdsourcing for operations here in New Jersey. And next slide. So just a brief recap, we have two mobility operations centers, the 24/7 STIMC up in Woodbridge, where we partnered with our Turnpike partners and the state police, as well as our mobility operations center in Cherry Hill. Together, they're responsible for checking conditions on over 7,500 lane miles. Next slide. Yeah, I'm in fact. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be partnering with Waycare. We've met them a number of times at various conferences, and what they're doing is they're actually deploying in a number of different cities. They've got great technology, a lot of artificial intelligence involved in this, so that TMCs are able to better understand the data that's coming from vehicles and other applications throughout these various cities, Nevada, North Carolina, Western Florida. So, they've got the brains in it. They've got a lot of computing technology behind it. And it's really going to give us a better look as far as how crowdsourcing data can help us manage our system. Next slide. So as I mentioned, Waycare, they're a cloud-based platform. And what it does is it takes a lot of our historical data and combines it with real-time data. And so we'll get, that automated incident identification, something that is out of the norm. It'll detect that. It'll also give us crash prediction and forecasting, recognizing where delays have historically happened, analyzing our crash reports historically and seeing where and when crashes may historically happen, and kind of give us an idea that, this is sort of the area where you usually get crashes. It'll be able to tell us where traffic is happening that's not usual, not the regular recurring delays, but the ones that pop up out of nowhere because something has happened. And it also gives us a little bit of tool to be able to talk back and forth to each other. One of the pieces of this is the ability to have a dashboard. Combining this with our existing Accelerated Innovation Deployment Grant for the weather savvy roads, we've got laptops in some of our SSP trucks. We'll be able to have that platform sort of integrate the laptop with this TMC platform. So it's something we're doing, almost having CAD in SSP. Next slide. So of course, the idea, we always want to have goals whenever we're getting federal money and our own money, of course. We want to improve incident detection. We want to make sure we're monitoring our roadways better, and we want to decrease response times. We want to get there faster. We also want to reduce our incident duration. So the less time that an incident is blocking lanes on our roadways, the better. You reduce the risk of secondary crashes. You reduce the queue. You're not backing traffic up as much. We also want to understand what the value of the data is that we're going to get from this crowdsourced information service, which is Waycare. Not only is it providing us with information from Waze, from other dash cam companies, from other data companies that are provided to fleet services, but it's got one of the connected vehicle aspects to it. And this is really where the new technology is coming into play. What we want to do is we also want to compare what they are getting in terms of their crash awareness to the state's crash records. So to see exactly where this type of real-time data is coming into play with the official records. Next slide. We want to determine the number of incidents that they get, Waycare versus the other sources. And we want to improve our communication internally and externally. We want to be able to get information and get it out quickly. We want to see how well we can use it. One of the things that we've always concerned ourselves about when we're working in the TMC is adding one more system, adding one more platform, adding one more thing to look at. We got 500 cameras. There's only so much people can look at it at a given time. And so consolidating that into an intelligent platform really is going to benefit the people that work there. We want to see a reduction in our response times, and we also want to see a reduction in the overall duration of the incidents. Again, minimizing secondary crashes, minimizing queues, and the inconvenience to motorists. Next slide. These are all the ingredients that go into the Waycare sauce, right? So the connected vehicle data, Volvo. Wejo is a massive amount of data that comes in. You're driving along. I've got a 2011 Chevy Equinox. It's old. It has a black and white camera in the back. I don't have a color camera. I only have a backup camera. Wejo's got the kind of data where if your windshield wipers go on, the data transmits through the vehicle's computer system and out to various sources to let you know it's raining. Now imagine anytime we do that, if it can communicate with our various software platforms, perhaps to let you know via VMS that it's raining ahead, be prepared to slow down. Those sort of safety messages that can really give people an understanding. We already partner with ICO, and that's who has our equipment on our SSD trucks as part of another STIC incentive grant that we were fortunate enough to receive. We already partnered with INRIX. We get their data to be able to post information on our travel time signs. One of the cool things I thought on this was Ticketmaster. Now, in a COVID environment, not a lot of people are going to venues or concerts or games and stuff like that. But they actually get data from Ticketmaster as far as the capacity of the building and how many people are attending as well as the start and the end time of the events to be able to see what queues might be building around facilities. So, let's talk about, MetLife Stadium or the Haskell over at Monmouth Park. To be able to get data like that and forecast when traffic is going to be heavier is certainly something that we're interested in. Next slide. The data that comes out, of course, a lot of the vehicle sensors, Internet of Things enabled devices, your Garmin devices that come aftermarket that you put in your car. The crowdsourced data, which is Waycare, dash cameras. A lot of companies are installing dash cameras for not only for liability, but also to be able to track their vehicles to see where they're going. Next slide. So the idea is there's aggregated data, like what we use now for INRIX and HERE. And it gives you travel times and everything like that, and delays and volume, and that's valuable. That's what we have. When you get anonymized vehicle data, you get so much more. You get harsh braking. You get loss of traction when your vehicle. Mine's a little red thing that looks like swirly lines whenever I'm driving in snow. To get that data to recognize how slippery the pavement is, we get that on stretches of interstates or stretches of arterials. We're able to better message and be able to coordinate our winter action, so we can get these roadways clear. The on-road hazard warnings, whether there's debris or anything like that. If a vehicle all of a sudden, is swerving, it means they're trying to get out of the way of something that's not supposed to be there. As well as some work zone intelligent information. A lot more companies and DOTs are putting intelligence into barrels and cones to geographically place that cone in a data set to tell you where there's construction. Something we looked at. Next slide. So why go with connected vehicle data? So there's so much more. the amount of data that comes out of connected vehicles is significantly more than what we would get via regular probe data. You get 1 in 50 vehicles, not a lot of data. The Waycare platform is going to get us about 1 out of every 10 vehicles in the state of New Jersey, data from those vehicles. And that's a significant increase in what we get. So imagine 1 out of every 10 on every state DOT roadway. That's a tremendous amount of information coming into the TMCs for them to make more informed decisions about operating their ITS, about dispatching their resources, and being able to keep our roadways moving. Next slide. So what do we do next? We've got to authorize the funding. We've got to be able to draw it into our account to be able to use it. And then we want to go towards the 3-step process. Make sure that the data that we have with the department, such as the crash records, as well as any of the other data sources we have, the video detection systems that come with our adaptive traffic signal systems, our probe data via INRIX and HERE, our information from our TMC data set. We've got to collect all that and be able to move it towards Waycare so they can understand and start building their artificial intelligence. Then we're going to, of course, train our people and kind of tinker with the system a little bit and see how it's going to work for us. And then we deploy it. So we're looking somewhere between 6 and 7 months. Next slide was the final slide. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Amanda. Thanks for working on the slides with me.
Hey, thank you, Sal. Okay, so next up is a small break and a poll question, and I will be sharing my screen here. I'll be launching a poll in 1 moment. So if you can take a look at these images, our question to you is going to be, which one of these innovations would you like to drive? Autonomous vehicle, old-fashioned horse and buggy, hybrid Tesla, e-scooter, tunneling machine, bullet train, or a bicycle? So I'm going to launch the poll so that you can choose which one of these innovations you would like to drive. And Helene is going to walk us through the results.
So do we want them to answer this and then go on the 5-minute hiatus? And then when we come back, I'll do that, or what?
Let's have them answer it, and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody answer so that I can. Oh, we have some old-fashioned horse and buggy like lovers. That's good. Some old timers in here. Okay, so some of you want that hybrid Tesla. Oh, looking like more of you want that hybrid Tesla. And the bullet train, that's the one I would choose. Seems like I can't pick one for some reason, but I would choose the bullet train. We have still have
the hosts. We can't pick for the hosts.
Oh, bummer. I wanted to vote for the bullet train. So if you didn't vote yet, let's up the numbers there. Hybrid Tesla, we already said that. Autonomous vehicle. If I'm tired, I might want to drive an autonomous vehicle. Now would be a good time for that. Bicycle, we have some bicycle enthusiasts here. We have a couple of people that like the e-scooter, one more than the old-fashioned horse and buggy. So a lot of options here. But the hybrid Tesla is the winner. So hybrid Teslas for everybody here in the STIC meeting. I'm just kidding. I'm not telling. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Are you saying that you're going to give away?
Yeah, you're not even getting the horse. Okay?
You're not Oprah Winfrey. You're not Oprah Winfrey. You get a Tesla. You get a Tesla.
Yes, Robert. The bullet train offers refreshments. Yeah, but apparently, okay. We're BYOB on the bullet. That's for you, Robert. All right. So enough of that. It's time for a little break. We're going to get the breakout room set up. So when everybody comes back from break, Stephanie or somebody, will they be automatically in their breakout room and when they get back, or will we be putting them into the breakout rooms after we get back? What will they expect to see when we come back from break?
Let me go over that in my slide here. Okay. So real quick, let me stop sharing this result.
Sorry, I just shared them.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they could even see. I'm not sure if they could see the results. I know I could see them, but I'm not entirely sure they could.
It said,
Yeah,
my
we can still see
screen.
it.
Okay.
We can
Oh,
still see
good.
the results.
I was assuming that you could see them,
Yeah, we
so.
just wanted to break it up a little bit, in between. So we've assigned each of you to a specific breakout room, and you should automatically be placed in that room momentarily. Again, we encourage the use of your cameras for a more interactive experience. Once you've joined your breakout room, you will be met by one of our gracious facilitators who will ask several questions. And a note taker who will take all the notes, which will later be cleaned up, summarized into one document, and shared with everyone. You will have about 50 minutes, maybe a little bit less, because we're running a little bit behind. After that, you'll be brought back to the main group where we'll have a moderated 20-minute plenary session. So I'm going to say maybe we could take a 2-minute break, Stephanie, and then you can put everybody into the breakout room. So
Everybody's back in, great. So listen, we are going to try to wrap this up on time. So we're going to have some very quick report outs starting now. And I will, from the groups, please be aware that there will be a more detailed report. All of the breakout rooms were recorded. There was a note taker in every breakout room. There will be notes of the discussions in the breakout rooms coming out. They'll be summarized and coming out in a report from Rutgers. So, this is just simply hitting the highlights. And I'll start off with TOPS. I was the facilitator for the TOPS session, targeted overlay pavement solutions. And what we talked about in our group was we had a great give and take. We had a municipal representative, and we had a county representative, and we had some state DOT people and myself. And we had a great chat about having periodic meetings. So we will continue to work on the TOPS initiative, and with a heavy emphasis on, okay, I'm already starting, Amanda, because I want to get this thing wrapped up. With a heavy emphasis on rolling it out to the locals, the counties and municipalities, presenting at the county engineers meeting, presenting at the municipal engineers meeting and the League of Municipalities, getting some training underway, linking them to some of the things that have already been done, like the pavement preservation video and other pavement preservation resources. So we talked a lot about how we can convey a lot of this information, since we're already institutionalized, convey a lot of this information down to the county and local level. So that was really the focus of our discussion. We will have periodic meetings of our group. Everybody in our group agreed that we would do some follow-up meetings, and every 6 months I will schedule a meeting for our little group, and we will get together for an hour and talk about where we are. There are some of the asphalt solutions that are still being implemented that are not as far along in New Jersey as the others. Highly modified asphalt and enhanced friction overlays. So, and we talked about what we could share with the STIC, lessons learned. And then if we're finding that any of the locals or counties are actually using any of these treatments, what they're doing, what their experiences were on a more local level. So we have a lot planned in the TOPS area. We had a great discussion. So I'm going to move on, and I'm talking, I'm sorry, but I'm talking like a minute, you guys. So hopefully just hit the highlights, okay? Crowdsourcing. What what did you guys talk about? The facilitator from crowdsourcing.
That is me.
Hi, Ike.
Hi, Helene. We had a good overview presentation from Sal this morning. The Waycare project is currently in the development stage, and the project goals will support the operation of the TIM program and Traffic Operations Center. It was recommended to define the measure of effectiveness, some type of performance measure, to help the NJDOT to assess in achieving the objective and goals of the project. One example is perhaps looking at the incident time detected by crowdsourced data and compare it to the CCTV verification time. The scope of our discussion focus on agency readiness. What does that look like? Some key dimensions of agency readiness is having the organizational capability to better manage the program and be successful. It's considered one of the key building blocks. And another objective of the discussion was risk management, being able to define strategies to address the data interface, system integration challenges that may come from ingesting the data into the TOC control software, incident database, geospatial data system. There is a probability that the vendor may not be following the ITS standards, anti-CIP, TMDD data dictionary, and linear referencing systems. So a bulk of our discussion was how to maintain and manage the risk that comes with the project, especially since most of us are not data scientists, and there may be a need for new skill sets to better analyze the data, process the information, and kind of visualize and tell a story on the root cause of congestion management. And to be mindful of time, I'll end it there and thank our group for a splendid discussion.
Ike, thank you so much for that quick summary. Next Gen Tim. Who was Next Gen Tim? Who was that?
That was me.
Oh, Amy. Hi,
Yeah,
Amy. Yes, thank you, Amy.
Yeah, I thought I would be last because I was listed last in the.
I'm sorry, I'm mixing
right.
it all up and screwing you all guys all up, but you're next.
Well, we had MPOs participating. We had the state participating. We did not have any local agencies assisting us on this. So, and the purpose of the Next Gen is to move the TIM down into those county and local areas to make their TIM more robust and in alignment with the statewide. So we had quite a few discussions about it. Susan was very good about being able to provide, excuse me, updates on what she knew to be factual. And we also had DVRPC able to provide what their knowledge is for some of the municipalities there. So some of the things that we talked about were the Cad integration, the UAS video sharing, and then the responder to vehicle initiatives with that. So the Cad integration is being developed. The UAS is would be considered, I'm drawing a blank on the third level of attainment on that.
Are we talking about demonstration or assessment?
Next one.
Assessment?
Are you moving up? Assessment. Because we felt NJDOT has a really good knowledge of how UAS works. They have a good foundation on it. So implementing it's going to be fairly easy and quick. But we do know that the local agencies may not be moving along in that as far or in that direction. DVRPC shared their RIMUS information, which is the web-based information exchange network that they're using. And they also discussed the detour routing that they've just put together that's available for the DVRPC region. And then we went into a discussion about moving forward, how would we make this open up more for the locals? So we had some suggestions on how we could reach out to the locals and different areas that we could make those connections. Is that brief enough?
Yes, thank you. Do we have a choice? Could we make it shorter? No, I'm kidding. Okay, let's go to virtual public involvement next. I'm mixing it up. So VPI was
I'm here.
Ricky. Hi,
Yep.
Ricky. All
Hi.
federal highway people so far. That's why I'm doing this.
Well, hey, everybody. So real quick recap. So the VPI, we had a very engaging conversation. We had a pretty good sized group. And so just as a quick recap, so right now, our baseline, we're at the demonstration phase here in New Jersey, where at least we're implementing one or more VPI tools, whether it be at the planning stage, whether it be at project development. And so, we actually gleaned quite a bit from each member of our session, kind of introducing themselves and kind of talking about their experience with VPI. And so, we're trying to get to, at the end of 2022, get to have VPI where it's institutionalized. And we think that we're well on our way to doing that. And so one of the things we talked about was really between now and the end of 22, what types of products might be developed at the MPO level, at the state level. And so we kind of thought about, all right, so the state's going to initiate the next iteration of the long range plan coming up here within the next 1.5 to 2 years, updating the STIP. And so also even perhaps updating perhaps their public involvement participation plan. And so you've got these really broad documents and products that are going to be on the horizon. And so we think we can develop VPI enhancements around some of these large documents and planning products that are coming out. And so one thing that we talked about was really kind of developing email-based subscriptions to tie into these various products. I know the MPOs are very successful with a lot of their email subscription services. So maybe even implementing that at the state level, where if people are interested in discussing public involvement or whatever it is, they can subscribe to an email-based subscription service. That way they're provided updates, that way they're engaged. You could be polling, some other things that you could be bringing into the picture. So then that led to the next question where we were kind of looking at how often should we meet? And we're really excited to kind of initiate kind of a VPI committee, VPI working group, however you want to frame it. Whereas we would meet at the state, the DOT, MPOs, other partners would meet probably quarterly, at least starting out, so that we can really build momentum. And we kind of pattern this after NJDOT's efforts with their success with complete teams, where they've kind of linked planning and transportation operators together. And so maybe pattern it after the complete teams effort, whereas we've got a working committee that is really building momentum. Every member, pretty much every member of our session volunteered themselves to be part of the committee for VPI. So that's helpful. We didn't have to volunteer anyone. So that's awesome. One thing that we also talked about was really making sure that we're linking our folks that are involved with Title 6 and EJ. We had at least one member of our session works out of the Title 6 office there with NJDOT, and really thinking about, it's great to engage everyone virtually, but we've got to make sure that the application of VPI is done in an equitable way. We cannot assume that everyone has access to all these wonderful tools. And so it's going to be great that we'll have someone with Title 6 on our working group moving forward. And then something we can share here at the next STIC meeting report out is just maybe some best practices. One thing we learned, each member on our session had some great experiences and some practices that are already in place. It's just a matter of compiling all of those practices into some best practices so that we can share that with our other peers. And so we could have gone on another hour, Helene, but we were given the hook at 50 minutes. And so
I know you could. I'm sorry to cut this so very short.
Next time, 3 hours for everybody. Next time, 3 hours.
Let's hear about strategic workforce development. Who will, Crystal, is that you? Hi, Crystal. Crystal, you're on mute. So hold on, I asked.
Here we go. Hi, yeah, we had a wonderful group. It was a nice mix of DOT, Federal Highway. We had an MPO and also ACC&J, the Associated Construction Contractors of New Jersey. And we did get an opportunity to go through a lot of the activities. We talked about succession planning, which was a big topic in our last meeting in December. And DOT is looking into a succession planning effort in the fall, focused on leadership. But we are also including some classroom training up to and including supervisory level for apprentice titles that will start also in a few months for non-competitive 2-year terms for on-the-job training. And we're also developing training for construction inspection, maintenance, and also to connect with the department's Urban Youth Corps program. We're looking to bring some of those agencies in to work in our operations department, using some of the skills that these folks have honed through working in the Urban Youth Corps program. One of the local agencies that was involved in the session was Lawrence Township, and they are trying to hire folks at a basic level to train them in construction, and also to get their CDL licenses, their pesticide licenses. And they've had some difficulties in finding candidates. So we will be working with them in trying to help with the recruitment process so that they can attract new hires. Also, as I mentioned, one of the transportation partners, ACC&J, relies on unions for recruiting and skilled trades, and they haven't been lacking in any applications. So they are going to be willing to work with NJDOT and helping us to find ways to fill positions as well. Let's see here. So when it came to working, asking folks if they would be willing to work in groups to advance this initiative, several people from DOT want to participate from our operations, from our manager of DBE and contract compliance, and also HR. So we have several folks from DOT who plan on participating. Also from a local agency perspective, Lawrence Township is interested in serving. Let's see. As far as the frequency of the groups meeting, that will be determined, I guess, when Zenobia comes back. She'll set up some meetings with these groups so that they can move forward in developing this initiative. Let's see here. As far as any type of innovative ideas, let's see. As far as FHWA and NJDOT working with public agencies, DOT uses the STIC to push out identified initiatives, and they're coordinating with the DBE on establishing goals, and they consider, as they consider those DBE efforts possible. Let's see here. And that's really about it. Further information will come out in the notes.
Crystal, thank you so much. There's a lot going on in that area.
Yes, we were, right? It was wonderful. It was wonderful. We needed a little more time to really talk about more of these initiatives, but everyone was very excited. And
yeah,
it was
when Zenobia gets back, some follow-up meetings between the group would be great. Yeah.
Yes.
So definitely. All right, let's move on to ultra high performance concrete.
Hello, John
John,
Miller here.
hi, John. Another Fed.
Yes, we were loaded up with that. In our session, in fact, we had a good mix of folks today. We had mostly DOT folks and Federal Highway, and we had an MPO as well. We had some good discussion. In fact, there are a lot of points brought up, so I'm going to try to just stay to the high points as we go through here. But as far as moving forward with some specific activities to try to accomplish the goal, some of the key points that came up was as part of the assessment that they're going to do on how these pilot projects have performed, they're going to look at areas where they utilize this ultra high performance concrete versus areas that they didn't on the pilots. They're going to also, they're in the process of finalizing an assessment phase, which will detail out actual testing that they plan on doing, things like impact echo and shear wave tomography. So they're putting that together, and hopefully we'll have that finalized shortly. They're going to look at an innovative study this year focused on UHPC using fibers, FRP fibers, as another possible way of getting more information to support its use. And they also are going to be looking at an upcoming study plan to use UHPC to repair girders, which is another part of this initiative. Let's see, one of the things that brought up, we tried to bring local agency participation and involvement into the mix. And it was thought that if we could encourage any locals to maybe come forward with some low volume, short span bridges that perhaps could be candidates to do some more piloting, that might be a way to get more involvement from them as well. All right, so as far as moving forward and having working groups in place to kind of keep things going forward, it was thought that there would be a benefit to have other people participate in this working group. Geotech expressed an interest. It may be good to bring on people from the construction side of things to basically look at constructability and specification development. And the group plans on establishing regular meetings with a state representative taking the lead to set up the frequency. I think it was talked about starting out with twice a year, but that could be adjusted as things move forward based on how the assessment work goes. Let's see, from the local side of things, it was thought too that a reach out to county engineers would be beneficial to help spread the word on this innovation. Let's see.
Somerset County is very much interested, John. Matt Loper has reached out to the department that they are interested in this initiative. So whoever is leading the team there, if they can reach out to Somerset County.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be most helpful. Again, get the word out, and that may also go, they may have some candidates that they would be interested in seeing if it's something that might fit a program. So, okay. And let's see, as far as moving forward and trying to get more buy-in from the locals and spread the word more, it was thought there's some other examples of ways that we could do that, showcasing successes either through presentations, webinars with local agencies, in-person site visits at some point in the future when that becomes more viable. League of Municipalities was mentioned as an opportunity for doing some presentations, engaging design engineers, DOT research showcase, and social media tools that might be a way to communicate the status of this initiative. Also looking for incentives for using innovative material through local aid programs, other types of funding, tech transfer type funding, anything that might be applicable that could bring other agencies into the mix where they could pilot some of these projects or at least use them on some of their regular projects. And let's see, bringing in other partners There was mentioned that there's an ASHTO initiative, educational branch. NJDOT recommended using a UHPC course that is geared towards the construction industry, something that would get their interest up as far as benefits of working with the material. So let's see. And then as far as accomplishments moving forward that the group would be interested in sharing, definitely case studies as this assessment goes forward on the pilots, as they get results in, it would be, the group would be most interested in sharing that. Also, can also talk about other applications. This initial pilot is based on UHPC overlays, but there's other applications that could be used for structural materials. And of course, securing more funding to do additional assessments and deployment. There may be opportunities to at least pursue anything that may be applicable. And to another thing to get the interest of the locals up, it was talked about the assessment should include a cost benefit analysis on using the material. If this proves out to be a real value, it could spark even more interest for the locals to be interested in it, and others, depending on what the project application is. So I think those are the main points. There was a lot of points brought up, and the notes will be finalized to be distributed to everyone and help formulate the specific actions moving forward. That's all I have.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
There's also a lot going on in that area too.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to e-ticketing. Val, are you here? Val Brown?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, okay.
Hi. Okay, so as far as the accomplishing the goal in the next 2 years, the 10-step activity baseline report that we presented, everybody appeared to agree that it was a doable, accomplishable 10-step. There were a lot of small issues that basically, in a nutshell, came down to the biggest issue being that the piloting and the training was all inclusive, that it included every area of the DOT as well as outside sources, so that everybody is trained up at the same time and we're all working on pilots, so that if there were any issues, they were all brought up at the same time. For participation in work groups, I volunteered 2 of the people in the meeting that work for me. So one is on the construction side and one is on the material side. And then there was also an outside local agency that volunteered staff to assist us as well. As far as when to meet and all, since we're so early in this planning, we didn't really discuss how often to meet or anything yet. That's to be determined. Question 3. So this again, as far as local public agencies, and again, the biggest issue being that they have a hard time getting all the information out to all of their entities at the same time, getting the same information out. So they were talking about communicating with LPAs with some kind of an outreach through the League of Municipalities and a county engineers meeting. And also possibly using other departmental communications, maybe either email, like a mass email. And they also discussed, we also discussed peer exchange opportunities as helping with the communication. And then the accomplishments, we feel like probably the best thing to do would be to have another peer exchange to engage internal stakeholders as well as outside entities, and looking perhaps to neighboring states for information from them on lessons learned and any innovation that they can possibly share with us. How's that? Nice and short?
That's great, Val. Thank you. We also got a comment here from Lane about sort of summarizing all these things that we said we wanted to convey to the locals. If we could sort of work that into one document, and local aid can be the conduit to reach out via the various seminars and communication opportunities. So Lane, I hope Rutgers is listening to this, because when they do the notes from the meeting, and Stephanie's putting it in the notes, but also it would be good if, they could summarize that, all those opportunities to reach out to the locals. So thank you in advance for doing that. Digital as-built. Who was digital as-built?
That was me, Helene. How you doing?
Scott Ackerman. Yes. Hi, Scott. Go ahead.
All right. So the short version. So right now we're not in implementation phase right now. So there's a lot that's going to be going on. We're looking at possibly changing the name of this from digital as-built to more of a 3D model instead, because digital as-built can really just be one focus when it comes to this larger programmatic world of 3D modeling. So there's going to be a lot of work. We already meet monthly. So we've actually met the last 2 months with action plan and next steps, every single meeting. We have coming up the concept of meeting with PennDOT to find out what they do, because they're very heavily involved with it. And then we're going to look into what type of projects could we look at piloting? What resources do we really need in order to get there? And with that will be the establishing of the funding once we know what type of resources. But there's going to be a lot of communications going to happen on the local level. Lane's already a part of that. So she's part of the group. So I kind of integrate that the comment she made just before this. And we're really going to be moving forward as we go through. We have already representation between various parts of the department, Federal Highway and ACEC involved, and looking into some more people that we know is kind of would be a good input along the way. So we're still early on, but we're looking at this, really trying to see how we can hit it hard and quick as much as we can. And within the next 2 years, hopefully we'll be out there to have a pilot project going. Thanks.
Hey, Helene, you should remind him that there's STIC incentive funds out there, and maybe that could help assist his effort.
There are, but right now, this fiscal year, there may not be, because we're thinking about using the rest of the STIC incentive funds for this year on something else, but there will be a new fiscal year coming up.
There's always next year.
On October 1st. So if you're thinking about that, start thinking about it now. And also there is the aid demonstration project, accelerated innovation deployment program that allows states to apply on other agencies. The state has to actually apply via grants.gov to get those funds. It's a lot more money. It's to apply initiatives to projects, direct application. It's up to $1 million per project. So it's a pretty good program. It's already been used in New Jersey for weather responsive management strategies to equip state fleet vehicles with cameras and sensors to predict weather, show the operators of the weather in real time. Sal has talked about that in some of our meetings. That's another program. The state applies directly, and if you're a subrecipient, you would use the DOT to apply via grants.gov. You can't apply yourself. Again, that's the aid demonstration program. Please look at our STIC Everyday Counts website, our Federal Highway website. You can just Google it and get right there, and you can find information on these programs. Okay, we need to wrap it up, Amanda. So why don't we do that?
So that's a good segue into my quick reminders and announcements. So thank you all so much for your participation in today's meetings and breakout sessions. We still have 82 people on the line, so thank you so much for sticking around. Don't forget that all things NJ STIC related can be found at these 2 links, or an easy Google search just for NJ STIC will get you there just fine too. I just wanted to make a quick announcement that the 2021 Build a Better Mousetrap competition has begun. So the competition provides a great opportunity to share new ideas with others in the state and across the country. And we're looking for submissions from employees of local or state public agencies, whether it's municipalities, counties, parks commissions, DOT, NJ Transit, that have developed new solutions to problems or found better ways of doing things. So we'll gather those best ideas from around the state and judge them using a 5-point rating system. And you can find more information about that on our website under the Share Your Ideas tab. And we also have a newsletter that's published periodically. And if you go onto our website, you can find out how to subscribe to that. And with that, I'm just going to say thank you very much again for sticking around. I know we ran over, and thank you all for your continued support of the New Jersey STIC. And I want to thank my Bureau of Research staff, as well as David Amon of Rutgers VTC and all of his staff, who provided a lot of the coordination and the note takers. And thank you again to our gracious facilitators, Helene, John, Valerie, Scott, Ricky, Crystal, Ake, and Amy. We really couldn't have done this without you, so thank you so much for sharing your time with us. You did a great job, and we will get all this reporting out to you as soon as possible. And with that, I don't know, Mike, if you want to say goodbye. And
yeah, just real quick, Amanda, Helene, David, Janet, you outdid yourself again. So thank you to everybody who contributed to this, everybody who was involved with this, and thank you everybody for your participation. We're still at 79 participants. That's a pretty good showing. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.